you've been literally all over the world doing this. What are some of indulge us a little bit with some of the crazier instances, moments that have happened specific to a keynote or comedy, or where there's been an incident or an event that's, been unexpected, or,
right.
Like
I'll tell you, people always say, like, what was your favorite audience? Going back to what I said maybe a few minutes ago, when I talked about what I really enjoy is looking out and having people come up to me after the show and saying, we needed that, or, we didn't think that you were right, but this was the best thing in our event. I will tell you what one of my favorite shows was, and it's weird because we talked about cancer. This show is worse as far as a topic. It was the Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists. Okay, which is kind of a Mothers Against Driving.
Right. Mothers Against Drunk Driving with semantical challenges.
Yes, you could probably call it that. Yes, exactly. Okay. They wanted me to do, it was a luncheon. These were people who were members of the organization. They wanted me to do 45 minutes after lunch. This was on a Sunday afternoon. I walked in, they were eating lunch, and there was a PowerPoint presentation playing of kids, all of who'd been killed in drunk driving accidents. Okay, that's what was going across the screen. All right, so that's obviously not what a comedian wants to see. Then they said, we're going to do a few awords, and then you're going to be up. So, yeah, I know.
They might as well. Were they serving coffee and dessert?
Right before me, I thought of right before me, was a police officer who was recognized with a plaque, who he just had a knack for catching drunk drivers. And everybody's, I'm like, and I'm looking back like, okay, things are getting better here. They said, okay, we have one more presentation and then you. And the presentation was a mom. They were giving an award to a mom, and she brought her son up on stage. The son was in a wheelchair. He was a quadriplegic. He had been rendered a quadriplegic in a drunk driving accident. They give her the award, and then they introduced me. And and I was like, I can't just pretend that didn't happen. I can't just go up there and go, hey, everybody, it's Sunday afternoon and there's no football. You're here because the Bears suck. No, you can't do that. So what I said, and this was kind of on the fly because you're working without a net here. I said, all right. I said, there's probably, I said, I get the sense from looking out at you that there's a lot of people in this room who don't think humor is appropriate for this event. And I said, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you and tell you that humor is exactly what's needed for this event. And I said, all of these kids and people and victims, do you think they would want you to stop laughing? Do you think that they would want humor to be eliminated from your lives? And I kind of kept repeating different versions of that message. And little by little, they were doing just what you did just now. I saw people kind of nodding. And then I would throw a joke in there, and the nodding got 2 people to 4 people to 4 tables to 8 tables. And before you know it, I had them. And then I did.
Before you know it, they're drinking Honor Palmers and unsweetened iced tea left and right, and it's just a madhouse.
It was just very, very. It was just very gratifying, and it could have been a disaster. And to this day, that's a show that just kind of sticks with me. It really warmed my heart, as not just as a comedian or a humor speaker, but as a person.
One thing that just crosses my mind is we talked about having to make the case to the client, the buyer, the committee, the decision maker, how it's going to work, appropriate, why it's important, the value, and all that, right? Mm-hmm. You were brought in, and then you had to do that very thing before you even got to your very thing.
Right. Yeah, I basically had to do 2 presentations.
Right.
One, like we said at the beginning, convince people it's okay. You talk about a tough sell before the biggest hit. That might have been the toughest sell, and I had to do that on the fly.